I only, up until recently, only owned one car, which is a 1988 Volvo 240.
A double semi fell asleep and slammed straight into the back of my tour bus while I was driving.
A couple of weeks ago in the Netherlands, we broke down in our old van 3 times in a row, and in the end we just had to throw it away. So now I think it's been compressed into a small cube.
We had a bus driver who didn't want to be on tour with us. He was just kind of filling in last minute, and he didn't want to be on tour at all because he had a girlfriend he missed back home and all this big sob story. So he was a little bit emotionally unstable, so we actually fired him in the middle of the tour. We dropped him off at the airport. The problem is that we had a vehicle from the UK, which we're not used to the steering wheel on the right side. So after we fired him, we had to drive our own vehicle, which was a manual shift and everything, wrong steering wheel, and it was a bus, and none of us ever driven a bus. So I just took charge and said, all right, I'll give it a shot. I'm probably not going to drive too smooth. Everybody hang on, here we go. And then we eventually made our way here. That was the first time we played Download Festival.
Falling asleep, waking up, 2 power poles wrapped either side of your car. That's the best.
In the transit with Laura, it fucking fell apart. That was about it. Hills of Eyes style shit, like, you know what I mean?
We once played a show in Guernsey and we drove back from Guernsey with no brakes, apart from our handbrake. How crazy is that? We drove for 4 hours with no brakes, and we got back and we sold our van for £3.65 scrap. Wouldn't even let us keep the number plates.
Yeah, that Best Tours bus we had, it was an actual death trap by the time the tour finished. Not only was it flooded and broken from an accident we'd had aquaplaning across a German motorway, but the only way that they could fix it was he got some like bungee stuff that you used to hold your groceries on the back of your bicycle, and it was wrapped around the bottom of the bus holding it together.
We actually crashed the van turned over. The whole thing bloody turned over, and it was quite amazing to be in the van where it actually topples over. I thought, fucking hell, if it goes down the hill now, we're shite, we're fucked. But luckily only went down a ravine about 10-15 feet, so we're okay. And we still did the show, which was superb.
My motorcycle broke down once in the worst part of West London, in Park Royal. I was surrounded by crackheads, and I had to wait 7 hours for the RAC in the middle of the fucking winter. And yeah, I think as vehicular breakdowns go, that was pretty close, yeah. Fending off crackheads.
I crashed my car in Brazil with my friend. It was a Fiat, and I crashed into a church, drunk. Nobody like doing this, reading this, watching, don't do that. There's a lot of churches in England and a lot of churches in Brazil. But I was drunk and doing some stupid shit, and I crashed it, and I didn't know it was a church. It was a big wall. And I got out of the car, and it was like, oh shit, like we just crashed into a church, man. Yeah. That was kind of a sign that I should not drink and drive no more.
We used to have a driver, a guy called Kev, and he was like in a red Isuzu van. It was about year big, and we were ploughing down the motorway on the way to a gig, and we were on tour with some band, and the temperature gauge went to the top, and we went, oh shit, we best pull over. We pulled over to the side. Kev starts fucking around with it's one of them vans that has an engine in the middle of the 2 seats at the front, and Kev just starts taking off the radiator cap, and you think, you shouldn't be taking that off because that's probably going to be really hot and destroy your face. Starts taking it off and just goes boom, and it explodes in his face and sends this muddy shitty water over inside the van, all over the gear. And we all jumped out of the van to the side of the road, but Kev jumped out of the driver's side into oncoming traffic with muddy water in his face, just going, oh, my face, while cars were swerving around him. And he came back and just went, fucking hell, lads, that was close, wasn't it?
My brother just bought a Volkswagen camper that he'd taken down to Barcelona, very cheap, and it was a right nail and all it was, and the engine fell out on the road while we were driving along. It wasn't like the head gasket went, the whole engine just fell out on the road, literally. Like, look behind, and there it was. That's got to take the biscuit.
But the van has been pretty good to me, actually. I can't disrespect the van.
In the States, we were heading from New York to Seattle to hook up with Slayer. we had just seen Mount Rushmore, a big American monument, all the presidents, 4 presidents cut on top of it, and obviously we're so excited, drinking some beer on the way, having a good time. We were in an RV, which is made of plywood and glue and Band-Aids holding it together. And what happened was our tour manager ran a red light, and we hit the side of what's called a hay hauler at about 65 miles an hour and destroyed the whole RV. Splinters, I got a refrigerator on my head, guys in the hospital, so that was probably the most serious breakdown.
Oh, that's easy. First tour we did, Best Tours, a white nightliner that broke down completely. It was smoke-filled and knee-deep in water after like 2 weeks.